Hello, everybody. Everybody and anybody that's here. Matt, you there?
Yeah, sorry, I was muted.
Okay, cool. Just making sure. I was like, we can't be fixing anything else. We're already late. All right. So,
Um,
hello, everybody. This is the Rough Craft. Today we're going to be talking about Godzilla versus Kong. I think is what it's called, right? Yeah. Matt's wearing another one of his nice Godzilla shirts. I'm wearing a Naruto shirt that my mother-in-law got me.
yeah,
I'm not a Naruto
where
fan, but it
that
fits.
was when I was muted. When you couldn't hear me, I was sitting there making fun of your shirt, and I was like, "Look at Tom, big old Naruto fan.
Oh
He
yeah.
loves that anime."
Animu, yeah, I love. This is my favorite guy. I think I actually know his. I think his name's. No, this isn't that guy. I don't fucking know. He's from the Hidden Leaf Village, though. I believe. I don't know shit about Naruto. I think I watched one episode. But yeah, we're gonna be just hanging out. Matt's a big Godzilla fan and monster
As you
movie
can
fan.
see,
Yeah, he's ready for it.
got
Actually,
all my Godzilla figures up there. I'm ready.
but so yeah, we're gonna talk about that. Matt's the expert. I will say, which I don't think anybody was able to watch our last Godzilla video because it went out, but I was
Yeah,
surprised to see this is a spoiler free thing, but a lot of things that you talked about, it's cool that we talked about it and we can get into it more later, but a lot of those things actually came up in the movie, so that was kind of neat.
yeah.
I'm glad that we talked about it beforehand, but
There were
uh,
some Easter eggs that I wasn't expecting
yeah,
that were there, and I was like, "Whoa!"
and I won't know anything
And,
about any of those, so you can explain this later. But before we get too far into anything, let's go ahead and talk about the beers that we're going to be drinking today.
um, well, let me open up my fridge.
Okay, yeah. Let's see.
Blueprint. I got some blueprint. Let me grab a cold one. Nice blueprint.
Blueprint. We've had that on the show before. It's probably my favorite IPA, and I'm going to be having an IPA as well. I've never had this one before. It's called 13 Stripes Freeborn Hazy Tropical Indian Pale Ale. It was
Logan, go ahead. Go ahead.
it was between this and a pineapple IPA, but I mean, I think tropical. I think that's probably all the same.
Yeah. Logan said he knew a kid in high school who liked Naruto, but he smelled like ramen.
Well,
Smelled
I
like
mean,
red noodle.
I guess it comes
Smelled like red noodles.
it comes with the territory, I suppose. You like Naruto, you like fucking ramen noodles. I'm trying to absorb the culture. That's not the culture, man. Let me fix this a little bit.
You eating? Was that good Munchen ramen?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't know which one I have whenever we get it.
It's that the one that costs like $5 a box.
Yeah, that's some good eating.
So
Cheap eating.
before we get into the movie, let's talk about some news.
Some news.
Tentatively, we have Sean and Patrick scheduled for May 1st
And if
to come on.
you guys can
If
look at
you
our. Well, I was gonna say we got writers crafts that we've done with both of them, and I think we have taken shots with them both as well. You guys can go check it out on the channel to familiarize yourselves with them. But yeah, go ahead, Matt.
Tentatively, we have them scheduled for May 1st, around 8:30. We're gonna do just a hangout session with them, talk about some stuff, talk about their comedy, like we said we're gonna do.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's a good idea.
so I have that scheduled. If things change, I'll let everybody know, of course. But so far, Sean and Pat are coming on together, and we're gonna have some laughs about how their comedy is going so far. Also, May. This is also tentatively May 22nd. I'm planning on doing the Helping Hands charity stream, where I will eat Carolina Reapers to raise money for Helping Hands, which is the uh, I don't want to say company, but just a business, not a business,
Yeah,
it's not a business either, but organization. There
making
we go.
money
That's
off them
what
kids. Yeah,
foster organization
non-profit.
that helps out foster kids here in Aiken. So that's all planned for May. But other than that, that's all for the news.
Shit, I had something I was gonna say. Fuck. All right, let's go ahead and start talking about this movie. I'll let you start it off. You give us,
All
all
right,
about it.
let's go ahead and talk about for the first 5 minutes before we jump right into
Okay.
everything. Seeing this movie, what would you think of it? Non-spoiler.
I think They did a good job with Kong. I think they did a good job with Godzilla. I think the writing and acting was pretty terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I always say you don't watch Godzilla movies for the human element. I watched this movie 3. Emily says that
I got
you're a
you.
lot.
I turned you down because see, test. Say something for me, Matt. Yeah.
Hey, how's it going?
I see what it is. This should even it out because I don't want us both too loud and clipping.
Right.
Say something for me.
Hey,
Yeah,
what's going on?
We're about the same spot right now. I'm gonna pull myself down a little bit actually, and then pull you down just a little bit more, and keep us updated whether it's good or not.
Yeah, let us know if the audio is wonky. But yeah, like I was saying, you don't watch Godzilla movies for the human element. You're watching the big two monsters fight.
Well,
basically.
the problem with that is a lot of times in these movies, that's what you see mostly on screen is the human element. And I'll say with this one, I was very happy that wasn't exactly the case. There was a lot of, well, I mean, just like whether nothing even is really happening with Kong or Godzilla, there's still, they're
always
still showing them.
kaiju somewhere on the screen.
Yeah.
Like you would always saw one of them somewhere, and I thought that was insane.
I would definitely say the humans were secondary in this movie.
Yeah. But other than that, I thought it was pretty good. I watched this movie 3 times, and I watched it Wednesday night, Thursday night. I didn't watch it Friday night, but I watched it this morning, just to refresh my memory about everything, take my notes. But the first time I watched it, I thought it was a solid movie. Second time I watched it, I was like, all right, this movie has some problems. But the third time I watched it, I was like, okay, this is a great movie. So, Godzilla's for nerds. But I would say go see it if you're invested. If you've seen Godzilla 2014, Kong Skull Island, King of the Monsters, why not just go see this one? If you only seen one of them, go watch this one. It's a solid movie. I like it.
I know. I was gonna try to watch. As I was wanting to watch all 3 of them leading up to this one, but I only had time to watch Kong Skull Island, and I really like that one. I think I'd have to. I was kind of half watching it because I was doing other stuff, but I think I like that one better than this one. This one had more action, more monster stuff in it, but that movie I think was neat. I liked it a lot.
So you missed out. You didn't watch King of the Monsters. Is that
right? No.
Okay.
I saw the first 5 seconds, maybe.
Okay. Duckett's in chat, just shitting all over everything.
Yeah.
What this show was about. Okay, so let's get into it. All right, this is spoilers from here on out.
Well, I just want to go ahead and point out one that Devin said. I don't even think he's seen the movie, and he said Kong sucks too. And I'll agree. Yeah, Kong definitely fucking sucked that whole movie. He got his ass whooped. Fucking, there wasn't even when he was doing well, it was still like I don't fucking buy it because he just got his ass kicked a second ago. Like there was never like him getting his ass whooped for 5 minutes and then having one good blow. Like doesn't make me think, man, he really won that. No.
Yeah, like one of the Dr. Lin, the Hollow Earth guy, he was like, Kong won round 2, and I'm just like, is it?
Yeah.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Was it really?
It's like thanks. It's so that's the shitty part of the fucking movie is what I'm watching the goddamn thing. I saw Kong finally like actually got a good hit on him, and it cuts to this guy being like, Kong won round. No, he didn't, and I don't need you to tell me that.
It's like looks like Kong won. No, it was the battle continued after, like directly after that. Godzilla got up, and he's like, all right, where's this fucking monkey?
Yeah.
This is the end. This is the end.
Let's go earlier. And what I want to talk about is that little girl, Matt. That little girl.
Jaya?
I don't know. Is that her name? No one. Is she deaf or she just refused to speak?
I think she was deaf and mute, but that was the perfect kid character in my opinion.
I'm not saying she's bad either. Either she's got the biggest balls out of everybody in the cast, not the actual people, but the characters, or she's a bad actor. Because when they're fucking flying down into this weird Hollow Earth bullshit, they're fucking flying down and everybody's screaming, losing their mind, and she's not too upset about it. Like
yeah, well, she was a Iwi. She was one of the natives of Skull Island who was it was used to Kong, so that would makes sense that she wasn't really scared of him or anything like
Well,
that.
no, I'm talking about when they were falling through the earth, and like the guy's like, it's gonna, this is what's gonna happen, and the gravity's gonna turn around, and we're gonna go up, and then like you're gonna need a vomit bag. Like 5 minutes, like they've been preparing, and they get in this thing, and then like 5 seconds before they launch, he's like, you're gonna need a vomit bag. And it's just it's so lame. And then the little girl's just sitting there the whole fucking movie. She's just fucking happy as can be, man.
She was the perfect kid character, man. She didn't say anything.
That's a good point. I don't hate her character. It's just it's so fucking silly, man. This whole movie, like shit's, they fucking drag this little girl out from like they drag her into the, she's just there. She's in the middle of the fucking ocean, like sign languaging fucking God or King Kong out there, and then they fucking, it's so stupid. They're like, the fucking guy's like, is Kong afraid of heights? So they're like, okay, well they're gonna get him from the ocean. They're gonna fly him to Antarctica. They
that was a call out from the original movie where they had King Kong flying in on those big balloons.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then they were like, let's take him to fight Godzilla in Japan. But yeah, that was a good Easter egg. I really liked that when they had him carrying in the net.
But they like fucking they cut to something else happening, and then they cut back, and there they are in Antarctica. Like there's no, like, it would have been such a fucking hassle to get Kong set up and all these people set up in helicopters and pulled away. But they said, no, we're just gonna let that happen so you don't have to worry about it. And they just fucking drop him back in there. And little girl, she's fucking sitting in this helicopter happy as a fucking clam. Like, who, like, it makes no fucking sense, man. Like, she's, and then they're like, all right, little girl, we're gonna strap into these fucking like futuristic fucking space vehicles that fly through the center of the earth, and she's still fucking trucking along like not a problem.
All right, we're getting a little ahead of everything that we need to, because I have it broken down, scene by scene, right here.
Okay.
So we kind of scatter shot that.
I was going from the start. I was at the Hollow Earth part. I was just following the little girl's path of fucking just ignorant bliss that she was on, and while all the adults are screaming and carrying her through fucking chaos, she's there like nothing's going on.
So the opening of the movie is Kong and his containment on Skull Island. If you you can see there's a storm going on. The storm has wiped out all the iwis for some reason.
Is that what they're called?
Iwis, yeah.
I keep thinking you're making a racial slur, but I guess not. That's what they're called.
They're called iwis.
Okay.
But yeah, so Monarch has contained Kong in this giant sphere containment field, and Kong realizes that he knows.
For people that's never watched the show or any of the movies, who is Monarch?
Monarch is the
John Goodman.
John Goodman.
Best part of fucking Skull Island was John Goodman.
Oh yeah, with I forgot about, he was in Skull Island. Him and what's his name? Samuel.
I don't fucking know.
Anyway.
Real quick, Devin said not to ignore chat. Let's go ahead and catch up on chat real quick. Stop saying death instead of deaf, you dummies. Who said death? Okay. Nax the Sixth. Do you know who Naz the Sixth is?
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing I wanted to bring up in the news. The Writers Accord Discord as a traditionally published author, and that's him right there.
Oh, cool, man! Congratulations.
Yeah,
I'm one of the guys that's in the Discord, but you'll never hear from me. He said I haven't seen him go off like that since Shin Godzilla. You might be able to relate to that.
There's the Easter egg. Shin Godzilla.
Oh yeah, John Goodman's voice was in the opening montage.
But there's the Easter egg of Shin Godzilla in this movie.
Yeah.
When Godzilla attacks Kong the first time when he was chained to the ship, that there's a scene where his tail flops down on another battleship, and that was a reference to Shin Godzilla. So yeah. Cool.
Also,
I really like that.
Logan made a point I did want to touch on. He had said, "Do we really want to see the logistics of relocating a monster?" No, I agree that would have been very boring. It's just, it's such a big fucking task, and the way they just cut through it like nothing fucking happened. Like it was like built up. Like they're like, "What are we gonna do if we move the boats? Godzilla's gonna come back," and the guy's like, King Kong. There's Kong afraid of heights. Like he's like so dramatic about it, and then I guess maybe that's what you want to do, and then you come back, fucking Kong's floating through the fucking sky on like fucking 10 helicopters. They can do it. It's so ridiculous. Like that's the unbelievable part. Not them falling through the center of the earth. It's them dragging Kong's big fat ass across the fucking Atlantic with a goddamn set of helicopters. It doesn't make sense.
I think.
I mean,
they
I don't
just
know.
they just wanted to make a reference to the original with
No,
Kong
no.
floating on big balloons.
Once you brought that up, it's that death chick is really almost as frustrating as the chat. Am I right? Just talking about you, Devin. No, yeah. Once you brought it up, that is definitely that's pretty funny. That's pretty cool that they made that.
I meant to ask this question at the beginning, but tap or no tap?
Hmm.
I meant to ask this question in the beginning, but tap or no tap?
I don't know what the fuck you're asking me.
Okay, so you didn't pay attention to the part. There was a Bernie. You remember Bernie the
Sanders?
black, Bernie the crazy conspiracy guy in the movie?
Which one? Oh yeah.
But that was his question. He's like tap or no tap because he believes the fluoride thing, where if you could put fluoride in the tap water, so if you drink it, that makes you more impressionable and everything like that. It's like no tap.
Emily made a good point. They had unlimited fuel for those copters.
Yeah, and she also has another good point. She's like, how did those people know not to wear space helmets when they went into the Hollow Earth?
I thought the same thing, but that I agree with that 100%. But that's the least believable. That's the hardest thing to push as far as the believability with this fucking movie. The fucking Hollow Earth thing, I'll tell you, and I know we're jumping ahead again, but once they get into the Hollow Earth, like that was really neat. Like I like that whole thing, but it just seems so stupid. Like they're like they start going, so is there a portal in the center of the earth, or is that man-made?
I have that question. How can Kong get through the Hollow Earth without any type of special equipment? And he's fine.
But is that what it is? There's some sort of like portal thing there?
That's what they made it seem like.
I couldn't tell if that was man-made or not.
I don't think it was man-made. I think it's just because they said like once you get to a certain point past the Earth's crust, the Earth's gravity reverses itself, and that's what killed his brother. Is because it crushed his brother between
Kong's brother?
Earth's normal gravity and the Hollow Earth's gravity. But they need a special suit. But I was like, can Kong withstand Earth's gravity like that? I don't. That's what.
Well,
the
guy did say it's not Kong I'm worried about. It's us. Take a fucking vomit bag. That's what he said.
I didn't like her character, the daughter, the Apex headman's daughter. I can't remember her name. I have it written down, but her character was confusing. Like she was either on top of things or also a bratty child. You know what I'm saying? She's like, "Oh, Godzilla's coming! Throw the monkey off the boat!" And then she's like, "Oh, this is our power source because we're Apex and shit." So I didn't really understand her character. But anyway, back to the beginning of the movie. The bracket fights in the opening.
Which one are the bracket fights?
So in the opening credits of the movie, you see them analyze Godzilla and all the foes he's faced, and then you see Kong and all the foes he's faced, and then they have them like a bracket matching up to each other towards the ending of the opening credits. So apparently Godzilla has fought and defeated all these kaijus, and then all of a sudden there's just Kong with his one measly defeat in the opening credits, and it was against a giant skull crawler, and that was when he was an infant, Kong. So I mean, already they're setting up that this is gonna be an underdog versus a champion type of fight.
Yeah,
it
sure fucking was. It really. This is one of the things.
A lot of people like Kong, and
I liked him too. They built him up to be the underdog character. He was the fucking Rocky of this movie, and like I will say that they did a good job of that, of making me like I didn't have a care who really won or whatever. I was expecting Godzilla to, but like they made it start feeling like I don't know. You started rooting for Kong during the movie, and even though you knew he wasn't gonna fucking win, there was not a shot in fucking hell.
Emily made a good point. She said, "Well, that's assuming Godzilla, who lives at the bottom of the sea, needs oxygen.
Well,
Well, he has
Logan
gills.
had first said that they creatures of that size won't be able to live on Earth because of the amount of oxygen that they would need. Like back in the day with dinosaurs, I think the oxygen, the atmosphere and stuff, the oxygen, I think there's a lot more oxygen in it, so that's why things are able to grow so large.
So I like
Scroll.
Bernie.
I think that's what they're called. Did you say scroll earlier, Matt?
I might have, but they're skull crawlers. So those two
I
words
like
together,
I like how
skull.
Devin, like anytime like we fucking mess up something in the chat, like he's there instantly to let us know we fucked up, and he's watching the stream like I'm gonna correct all the fucking grammar. But it is fair, like we can't blame autocorrect on our misspeaking right now.
Pronunciations.
Yeah.
Um.
Nobody's giving me a
So
backhand when I say things wrong, so
like, you remember when Bernie pulled out the USB in the opening when he was in Apex? He pulled out that USB that looks kind of like a knife. You don't remember that part?
no,
Okay.
I was like doing something. I was listening to a lot of it.
Oh, okay. So anyway, Bernie pulled out this USB, plugged it in to download all of Apex's files so he can send it off to the internet and be a whistleblower. And
I remember him talking about it. Yeah, that's how it works, man. You can fucking download all the files.
yeah, well,
on
that
this.
USB never came up again.
Oh,
Like
really?
they hubbed, yeah, they had like almost like a 2 second shot on this USB. Never came up again. I think it should have been the whiskey bottle that ruined everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he should have pulled that out of his locker, and that would
Yeah.
have made more sense for the character.
Yeah, that was another dumb thing. Wait, let's try to go from the beginning, like you were saying, and try to work our way through this because I want to jump across all over the place with how dumb this movie is. It's fun to watch,
Mhm.
but the story isn't good. The writing I don't think is that great. The acting is not that good. Kong and Godzilla fucking they show Kong a lot. Kong did a good job. Godzilla was
Well,
fucking
well,
great.
like Kong only had one movie, and Godzilla's had two so far. So I understand why most of the movie was centered around Kong
Yeah.
near the middle part of the movie. I can understand that. I get that. I like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Kong was definitely the underdog, and it really shows. But
Yeah.
we're gonna get into that. But I liked Bernie. I thought he was a good character. Even though some of the shit he didn't make any sense, but he's also crazy. He's supposed to be the Alex Jones of this universe.
You know, I was thinking about like during this show taking like a bottle of beer and just pouring it all over my computer and seeing what happens. Since apparently that can make a fucking multi-billion-dollar company's fucking computer explode on their most important project.
That made no sense to me. All right, M says like I feel like Godzilla had more person. Yes, they made both of these kaijus have more personality. In
Yeah,
this
I think
movie.
they both did. I'm trying to think. Fucking that screenshot. It's part of the thumbnail of fucking Godzilla's face close up. Like I saw when that happened. Like it's funny, man.
Dude,
Godzilla Godzilla was a good guy. He was a cunt, but he was a good guy.
that was another Easter egg from the original because once Godzilla hit Kong back in the original with his breath, he was starting jumping up and down. He's like, "Yeah, I got him!
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
and that was kind of like an Easter egg to that. But the eye, you didn't see King of the Monsters, but there's this machine called the Orca in King of the Monsters that releases these kind of waves, electromagnetic waves, that causes the kaiju to think there's an alpha in the territory.
Okay, so that's what that whole nonsense was about.
Yeah, the eye blinking, going bling.
Well, I remember them
bling.
talking about stuff like that in this one or something, but I don't know.
I can't remember about Kong. So yeah. So we'll skip past a couple scenes, and then we open up with Madison, which is 11 from Stranger Things. So we open up with Madison.
Boy, it really goes to show, and that's fucking writing is king and directing is king when it comes to good acting because she's great in the first season of Stranger Things. One thing I ever saw, fucking terrible in this movie, fucking terrible.
All right, I like Bernie, Josh, and Madison. I like their little.
Literally,
It was
the worst
it was
part
like
of the movie.
Scooby Gang.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And if that's what they're going for, they fucking nailed it, dude. It's not good. I didn't enjoy it. It's so fucking like they're fucking walking out a hallway at some point, and the guy's like, "We gotta go this way," and she's like, "I'm just gonna keep walking this way instead." And then everybody just follows her. That was one scene. Well, anyways, they follow her and they end up going in some. They go towards the the area where the other thing we haven't talked about yet is,
Mhm.
and it's just it's just so stupid. And like everything that she did, I'm like, this is so dumb. And like,
Well, Bernie already has submitted to her because she is Madison Russell.
yeah,
She's the child of the two Russells.
yeah,
Uh, her mom is the one who woke up Ghidorah. Her dad is the director of Monarch, so they already think that she knows what's going on and everything
yeah.
like that. So I can see Josh. Look, man, the movie would have been great, or not great, but the movie would have been just fine. It'd have been the same without Josh.
Well,
Josh,
he was supposed to be kind of like the comedic relief in that sort of little
yeah, but
group there.
that's what Bernie was too. I
But
mean,
I
she
don't
had
feel like he
two
took.
comedic reliefs. Like,
I don't feel like taking him away would have made it any better.
no, but I think it would have been the same without him.
That could be true, but I think two's one big black guy walk around with a little white girl. I think they can't make that work, so they had to throw in a little fat chubby guy to walk around with them.
All right, but it's been when we open up with Madison, it's been 3 years since the last
Real
Titan.
quick, one more point. I think what killed me so much with this movie, and you can see it in the trailer, is so many cuts to people saying shitty one-liners. That's what I hated. And like the scene where they're on that little ship with the skull things, the eggs, and they're about to go
Crawlers?
through.
Yep.
All of a sudden, like the thing starts fucking moving. You see it moving, and it cuts to her, and she goes, "Here we go," or something like that. Some fucking lame ass fucking one-liner.
Um, yeah, I felt like the movie was a lot longer originally, but they cut a bunch of stuff out. Like the pace of this movie is insane.
It is. It's
It's
very hard to follow
it's
what the fuck's
it's,
going on,
it's fucking fast.
especially when you're half
Um,
watching it.
so I think they cut a lot of scenes out of this movie, and I would like to see the director's cut. Can we get that hashtag going? Y'all got
Emily,
Snyderverse.
I'm not saying the character didn't make sense. It's not even that she said Madison would make more sense if you actually watch King of the Monsters. She's probably right. The character would make more sense. I have no problem with the character and like what Matt's saying. Like I got from this movie that her parents are important and everything from the King of the Monsters. My problem is it just seems so over the top with her character a lot of times. It just doesn't come off as good. And I think she's a good actress. I just think the writing wasn't good.
I think it's more that their group, their little storyline was meant to be more like a Scooby Gang.
And whenever you say that, that makes it make a lot more sense, and it makes it more like they're kind of like stumbling into finding stuff like the whole way, like just getting lucky and just shit's kind of happening, and it's just kind of help. Yeah, it's like they're on the fun little adventure of just happenstance falling into the right place while other shit's actually happening.
So the next scene I have written down is Godzilla destroys Florida, the Apex Florida facility in Pensacola.
Did that happen?
Now,
That happened in the movie?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was when Godzilla first showed up. Him going through the waves, like his first scene is like the dorsal fin coming out of the waves. I really like that scene. I thought it
Yeah,
was pretty good.
I like the idea of like having, because whenever you think of a dorsal fin coming through the ocean, you think of like a shark. So it's cool to see like a different version of that.
Mhm. And like he just gets up, starts blasting, just Frank Reynolds the whole place. Bernie tries to he's running around trying to get away, but he sees an open door, a secret passage, and he goes in it. And then like two guards are like, "Where's your security clearance?" And he's like, "I find it really astonishing that you would ask about a security clearance right now when Godzilla's attacking." And I thought that was pretty good. I thought it was a good line. Because I was wondering that when I was watching, it's like, why would they even care at this moment in time when Godzilla is attacking? So
Yeah.
why would you? Um,
I just never realized that. I was wondering why all the chat, everything in the chat is coming up. Everybody's name's red. I think it's a YouTube thing. But Logan's saying that the the monsters being as large as they are makes it not believable. He thinks it ruins the immersion. Let's see. He says adding the human element comes down to, hey, check this monster out. Yeah, pretty much. Or dang, this big monster doing some monster things. Yeah, pretty much. And I just don't think it's done well. But it's not. I mean, it serves its purpose. I think with a movie like this. But
Well, they set up the scale in 2014. And that's what I was going to ask. It's like there's some. Did you notice any scaling problems in this movie?
I didn't. I'm not saying there weren't there, but I didn't notice any specifically.
For some reason, I would think that
if I watched it again, I might would.
maybe because that battleship scene, like when Kong is on the battleship, he's chained up, and they let him loose to fight Godzilla, and he jumps from ship to ship. There's a aircraft carrier he jumps on, and that's where they fight. I would have thought Godzilla was a lot bigger than an aircraft carrier, but maybe not. I have to rewatch King of the Monsters to get a sense of scale.
Yeah.
Because for some reason I was like, well, Godzilla seemed like he would just pick up a aircraft carrier, but apparently not. He can fight on it.
Well, one of the things with Logan talking about like the size, like them being so big isn't believable. I get that 100%, but I think with a movie like this, when you go into it, it's a fucking huge ass monster movie. Like that's the first thing you suspend is these are gonna be some big ass fucking monsters. But at the same time, like if this monster was able to fucking reach up and grab the moon, I'd be like, that's way too fucking big. That doesn't make sense. So it could have hit that point for you. For me, it didn't really bother me. I'm talking about Logan specifically. It didn't really bother me the size of them. I think the size was kind of what you want them to have. But at the same time, I feel like in like the old King Kong movies, he's like climbing the Empire State Building, and in this one, he like is the size of the Empire State Building and stuff like that. Yeah. So I get what he's saying 100%. Like I thought about it during the movie. Like I thought about Rampage. Have you seen Rampage yet, Matt?
No, I have not seen Rampage.
Well, in Rampage, I think they get bigger as the movie goes on, but they're never like he's like maybe a quarter of the size of what King Kong is, and that felt like a good size, but I'd say a little bit small. So I think somewhere in between there would probably been a better size to have them at. But at the same time, you want that fucking large spectacle of these fucking monsters romping through the city, every footstep destroying a building.
Yeah. So what do you think about the hand language part with Kong? Did you like that idea?
With the little girls like sign languaging with Kong and stuff like that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, you didn't. I thought they never explored that with Kong before. They might have with the Peter Jackson.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Then, yeah, if they've never really talked about it.
Yeah. So I wasn't completely sure. Oh, sorry, my daughter just got up from her nap and she was telling me hi. But yeah, but after there was hold on. Can't remember where I was going. Evie distracted me. I was talking about the hand language. Kids.
The sign language. Call it sign language, please, because before Devin gets back on here and starts getting mad at you.
So the sign language, I thought that was a great idea what they did because Jaya, the girl who was connected to him, is deaf, mute, and she was signing to him. I didn't really like Irene.
Is she ever brought in from any other movie or anything?
This is the first we've seen of her.
They're just like, we got to reach in our ass and pull something out to give Kong a way to communicate with the people.
Yeah, because he's supposed to be the new hero because they don't trust Godzilla anymore after the Apex attacks.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I thought the sign language was a great idea. It was reminiscent of Congo by Michael Crichton, that book.
I think with those sort of things, I think having a little girl signing to the person, that's like, and that's what's good and bad about it is like, yeah, that's kind of, it's like nobody's going to question it, but at the same time, they're not taking any risk and trying anything new necessarily. So
right.
It's a good go-to when you have a big monkey. Well, have a little girl sign to him.
At the end of King of the Monsters, they set up that people are telepathically linked to monsters. Like the two twins in King of the Monsters were linked to Mothra. I was thinking that they would do something like that with Kong, but the sign language thing is a great workaround. If they didn't want to continue that, if they didn't want to give Kong like a voice, like
Well,
home,
that
home.
could be what it is. Like I said, they didn't want it.
Really
Like I was saying, like they didn't take any risks. Like in that movie, maybe they took a risk and people didn't like it, so they just went with more,
realistic.
yeah, stuff that is tried and true when it comes to
Yeah.
this sort of thing. But I mean,
So what'd you think?
huh?
No, go ahead. What were you
I was
saying?
just saying it. The sign language thing never bothered me one way or the other. It seemed like a thing that needed to be there.
Yeah, I really liked it. Kong's an ape. I thought the sign language part was really good. I would hate to hear Kong's voice. So
Yeah, that would ruin it. I will say real quick, and I don't know what you want to get into next, so I might be jumping ahead a little bit. But the the part once they're in the Hollow Earth and like Kong goes to where his home was and he sits down in the throne and like you see this when he opens up the doors and stuff, you're like, who the fuck built this? And then you find the axe, and it's like it's telling a story without any fucking humans coming in and saying, I guess his people built this.
yeah,
And you didn't have any, and you obviously you learn, or what I took from it is, at one point these large apes, there were a lot more of them, and they built this sort of stuff. They were able to work with tools. They were like primitive humans, like coming into the Stone Age, and this is where they lived, and this is what they were doing, and stuff like that. And he's just the last one of it. And I think that's really really cool to see this large ape as being like a one of the first points of humanity and stuff like that, and the idea of them making these large structures and stuff. I think it's unbelievable. Like I don't think it wasn't believable. Like they're fucking working with a shitty axe. Well, I guess it's a good axe, but they're working with an axe and stuff like that. But they're able to like make large structures out of stone and able to fucking make statues and stuff. I don't buy all that, but it was interesting.
like back to the boat. When Kong was like thrashing around in his chains during the rainstorm, I thought the rain effects were good. Like when he shook his head and you could see the rain whipping around him. I thought that was a great effect. But
Was that in this movie?
Yeah.
What part? I remember a lot of water effects, like when he got out of the ocean and the water dripping off of him, like whenever he coughed up all the seawater and stuff.
It was before that scene. It was at night. Jaya
Okay.
went out and talked to him and signed to him, and then
Okay.
that's when Kong revealed that he can sign too.
Okay. Well, that would have helped a little bit more, like them kind of leading us into it. I missed that. I must have not been watching.
Okay, that's fine. But the rain effects.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Al.
But-
I was working to get through this movie, man. I'm sorry.
But like when he was thrashing around, I was really hoping that one of the crew members would say, "Don't worry, that chain is made of tensile steel." Just from the original.
Oh yeah. Trying to think but I think the effects were pretty good. I think like
There's one scene that looks like dog shit.
that was one scene with the
PlayStation 2.
water, like a big splash that happened that it looked like they copied and pasted the splash. But I mean, I can't do any of that stuff. I mean, that's not necessarily the standard bar. Like if I can't do it, they can do whatever they want. But I mean, I think it was good. I think it's still not quite there yet where it's like super believable, but it's enough to suspend imagination to be able to watch and enjoy the movies.
Like for instance, the fish eating scene when Kong is eating fish on the boat. That to me that looked wonky. But what did you think of the first fight between Godzilla and Kong?
Now that was one where I was definitely like, and that's where I probably missed a lot of the stuff you're talking about because I was working while that was happening, and whenever I saw that shit was kicking off, I kept going back, and finally I paused it, finished what I was doing, so I could try to watch it. And hold on one second. We got a question. If you choose to answer this question at random, what is the chance that you'll be correct? I don't know if that's a bot or something, but anyway, so.
See, 50%, 50-50, depends. Heads or tails. But what'd you think of the first fight?
The first fight, yeah. So I watched that. I kind of watched bits and pieces of it a couple times. It's 100% an unfair fight. And what I assumed was going to happen is, Kong got his ass whooped here. And so in the next one, when it was a more fair fight, especially once he had his axe, Kong was going to beat the dog shit out of him. And that's not what happened. But it was cool. It was nice to see. I don't know. I haven't watched any of these kaiju movies, so I don't know. Has there ever been like a fight underwater and stuff like that? Because this wasn't really even much of a fight. This was Kong struggling not to die.
Well, that was I have here in my notes a Kong kill count where Kong almost died, and I have.
What'd you get the
I
number
have
two?
four.
3?
I got 4.
4. Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay, so Godzilla attacks the boat. The boat flips over. That's count 1 because Kong's about to drown.
Yeah, if they
And
don't
I
release
count-
his chains.
Yeah, I count human interaction as a death count. If he has to have help by humans, and he couldn't do it on his own, that's a death count.
But at the same time, like I don't see that as like Godzilla winning because it wasn't a fair fight. That's like me.
That's right.
That's like
true.
me and a guy that's in handcuffs being like, "You want to fight?" and me throwing him over a fucking bridge into the water and being like, "I fucking whooped his ass." You just throw him. You just throw a handcuffed man into the water.
But yeah, but that was maybe count 1. They let him go. They let him loose. Tears off the neck chain. He's on top of the boat. And he's like, he sees Godzilla circling around. He's like, he jumps to the air carrier. There's a scene with the jet, like once Kong lands and the boat kind of sinks to the back, the jet flies up, and then you're looking at the pilot, and behind him is Kong roaring. And I thought that was a fucking cool ass scene.
I think that's one of the cool things they did multiple times is they gave you like the humor perspective on this to help like the scale and show you how, because you're seeing the panned out these monsters fighting in a city and stuff like that, but then they'll have these scenes where you're in like a flying vehicle circling around them, and like one time I was like, why are they fucking happen to be going by Kong and by Godzilla? It's so weird. And then I was like, that's exactly why, because they're wanting, it's in the final fight. Whenever they first come out of Hollow Earth, the guy, the girl, and the little girl, they come out and they like, fucking Kong's right there and you're by him as he's yelling, and then you go by fucking Godzilla as Godzilla's shooting his blue breath or whatever. And it's like, it's really cool to get those sort of scenes and close-ups from, our perspective.
So Godzilla attacks on the air carrier, and like they fight on top of that ship. Godzilla was whooping ass. Like it Kong got 2 punches in, and then shoved him off the boat, and then Godzilla blew up the air carrier, forced King Kong into the ocean, wrapped him up in a tail, and drug him down. I didn't like the depth charges. Didn't really sit right with me.
Yeah, that was weird. And then again, like all of a sudden, like they drop him off, and then fucking Kong just comes up from the ocean.
Yeah,
Like
they dropped the depth charges. Didn't show what happened, and all of a sudden Kong's alive. He's throwing up water, and just lays there.
Ugh, sorry about the
Basically.
yawning. But no, it doesn't. That's my whole point about there'll be scenes where stuff's happening that they build up to make it seem like it's important, and then when you cut back to that, it's like nothing really happened. And that's what bugged me about the switching over to him flying to Antarctica, and like even the scene where they're like the girl, Bernie and the girl and the guy, they're like, she's like, here we go, and then it cuts back to them and they're like just fucking reading a book or something. That one was okay because that's kind of comedic, and I get that. But like stuff like what you're saying right there where Kong just suddenly comes up, it's just how, like, what you need to explain, you need to give me something there, especially with that one.
And when they cut the engines and everything, and like Godzilla comes out of the ocean, and he's like looking at them.
Well, that's that scene where the guy's like, it's so fucking annoying. Like he's like cut the engines, cut the power, cut everything, and somebody's like, why? And I'm like, yeah, why would you not fucking, before you tell everybody to fucking stop working this vehicle that they're working on, like, why? Give us a reason why first. You should be like, here's what I think, and this is what I think we should do. But it's a movie. They're trying to be dramatic, and then the fucking captain, whenever he says to cut it because then Kong will think we're dead and all that sort of stuff. I was sitting there thinking he's gonna say, "This better work," and then it cuts to him and he goes, "This better work," and I'm like, fucking, like, and that's my problem with these movies is like, I'm not saying I could write a better movie, but I could fucking write this one. Like I could have wrote that line because I fucking wrote it. and I wrote it to make fun of them.
Okay, so we
Yeah.
we fast forward a bit. Godzilla thinks he beat Kong, and he swims off. There's like, well, how does Kong feel about heights? And then they do the Easter egg about him flying with balloons and drop off in Antarctic. The girl says, "Hey, you might have family down there," and he's like, "Fuck, let's go, dude."
That
And then,
seemed really fucked up to me because I felt like that because I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, this little girl, they're getting this little girl to lie to Kong, and I'm just thinking of it from Kong's perspective. He's like, I really trust this little girl, but that seems like a really dumb idea to go in that fucking tunnel. Like that's all I'm thinking the whole time. And finally, he's like, "Fuck it, I guess I got to." And he fucking like I think of it like a dog that trusts you and loves you. He goes down to the tunnel, and what happens? He starts falling to the center of the fucking earth. Like, imagine how he's like, I don't trust this bitch anymore. But then he gets down there, and it turns out it's okay. He's able to float across and touch some rocks and shit. So,
all his kindness dead. There's a skeleton of a Godzilla with an axe in his head, and he takes the axe. Like the axe power thing, that confused the shit out of me because they never explained what that power source was.
all I can imagine is it's one of Godzilla's scales. It's one of his fins.
When he put the axe down, you can see multiple axes. They're all his fins, all of Godzilla's.
I don't
fins.
think was there multiple axes or was it just
No, there was
okay.
there was multiple axes.
So, but yeah, so I agree with you, but the way I take it as is that's one of the fins of Godzilla. So whatever Godzilla's power is, like when Godzilla powers up, you see his fins and everything lighting up as well. So it's just the same thing. So whatever that power is, that can absorb that power, and then he can use it to
hack away.
Yeah, so, to push that power out.
So when he puts the axe in, it draws Godzilla somehow. That's what another thing I think could use another scene is explain why Godzilla was drawn to that power source and blow a hole through the earth.
Yeah, okay, good. Because, see, I thought that was something that I missed because I was half paying attention. But, like, he gets there, and it was really cool. Hey, he starts, like, getting ready to charge up his thing, and I'm like, he's about to fucking just shoot a bolt up in the sky just to be, like, ferocious. And then he's, like, and shoots it straight down. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And then immediately I'm like, oh, he's drilling down to where Kong is. Why? And then, like, Kong's able to just climb up out of there. It just didn't make sense. The reason they didn't show that second portal the second time, because they're like, there's no way we can make this make sense, because that would have been a fucking, month-long journey of Kong just climbing.
Yeah, so, like, it was a little odd to me. Is like, why is that? But, what else is odd is when the humans drilled and took the power source with that little robot, and then they scanned it and sent it back to the surface, and they're like, here's the power source, recreate it. I'm like, if you're this far in, why not just use a teleporter and teleport that cell of energy?
I don't know if they have teleporters, but that's what they basically did. They scanned it and sent all the information to them that they needed.
Yeah, but how are they going to recreate it in that amount? I
agree. I agree.
It's a human element that doesn't really matter in kaiju movies.
I think what they did is a more believable version of teleportation. They transferred the data, and then they had the resources to maybe it's like an equation. Maybe they had the resources, and they just needed the right equation or something.
Yeah, it's because it was just odd to me. That robot scanned it, and then they're like, "All right, that's it." Why would you risk your daughter going down there?
Dude, that chick was so fucking dumb, man. Like,
dude, she was so annoying.
Like, she's like, get him out of our way, shoot him. And I'm like, why would you do that? Why would you say shoot this big-ass fucking monkey that's right in front of you? And then, like, there was, like, I don't know if it was that scene or another scene, but, like, she makes a face. Like, I remember, like, kind of freezing on her face. She's like, it's just the worst acting I've ever seen in my life. It's so dumb.
She was not a good character. They would have been fine with not making it his daughter. They could have made it anybody. Speaking of,
and he was never fazed by that. Now that I think about it, because that would have been the only reason to make it his daughter, is so he cares about the person a little bit, or maybe to show how evil he is that he doesn't even care about his own daughter. But like, it wasn't like he had like a bad, because the best bad guys are bad guys you can understand, where you can be like, Even though, because nobody's the bad guy in their own story. He thinks in his mind he's doing something good. But when he lets something like that happen, he does, like Thanos in the Marvel movies. Like, he was the bad guy, but a lot of people can understand and sympathize with what he was trying to do.
Right.
Like, even in, I think it's the beginning of Endgame when they kill him. Like, he's like, that's fine. Like, I've done what I needed to do. And he thinks he did the right thing.
Yeah.
And in this movie, like, I guess that was them hammering it. Like, yeah, he's just an evil guy. There's no right reason for this in his mind. He's just wanting to do bad shit.
He wanted humanity to be back on top in the food chain, and like I guess you'd have in this universe you'd have some people like that, but still it just seemed odd. But then again, this is a kaiju film. There was a guy in the Heisei series where his daughter died, so he fused her DNA with a rose in Godzilla, and we got Biollante. So I mean, it's all just I didn't mind that part. It was just nitpicking, really,
Yeah.
because this is a kaiju film, and you're just watching monsters fight. You don't really need to know the why and the how, um, but still, just pointing it out. Um, so what happens after that? Sarazawa. Now remember the guy who was linked with Mechagodzilla.
Oh,
Oh
yeah,
wait,
yeah. Yeah,
we're in
yeah.
spoilers. So
Yeah.
Mechagodzilla.
Oh, yeah,
Alright.
we haven't talked about it yet. Mechagodzilla is in this movie, and that's something that I remember you talking about. Who's the guy that they got the Mechagodzilla information from to make Mechagodzilla? The king.
That was the older Lannister. The
No, what?
Lannister's dad.
What? No. I'm talking about who was the guy. Like, who was not the guy, the monster? Who was like the Godzilla's dad or whatever it was, like the three-headed thing they were talking about, the skull that they had.
Oh, that wasn't Godzilla's dad. That
Whoever, what the fuck is the guy's name?
was Ghidorah.
Yeah, Ghidorah. That, like, I remember you talked about that last time we did something with Godzilla. And so when that all came up, because not only did they do Mechagodzilla, everything, because when you were saying all this, I'm like, I don't fucking know if everything he's saying is true. He could be pulling shit out of his ass. And then everything was like exactly like what you were saying. Like, they got the DNA from Ghidorah, or whatever, you can say it. And
Ghidorah.
they use that to make Mechagodzilla, and that's exactly what happened. So I'm like, it seems like they're really staying true to form, at least as much as they can with the source material of this, and I thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah, they had the Neuralink, but the
Yeah,
pilot.
they did have Neuralink. His eyes started rolling back. I'm like, how did they choose the actor? Like, what makes this guy? I literally thought this. What makes this guy special enough to be the actor for this part? And then he rolled his eyes back in his head. I was like, he's a handsome Asian guy that can roll his eyes back in the back of his head. That's why.
But he dies too, so that doesn't really open up to anything like your example.
What? What example?
I don't know. So, but Sarazawa, the original pilot of Mechagodzilla, was
So was the original Mechagodzilla? Was it powered? Was it controlled by a person, or did he kind of take over like he did in this one?
they kind of mixed and match here because like in the original Mechagodzilla was from aliens, and then the newest version before this one was Kiru, and that was made from the bones of the original Godzilla, and it lost control for a little bit. So they kind of mixed and matched those two. They wanted an evil Mechagodzilla made from the bones or DNA of another kaiju, but they didn't want to make it from a Godzilla, so they made it from Ghidorah. So,
But I feel like that's what you said was going to happen.
yeah, it was something similar. You can hear Ghidorah's roar from King of the Monsters anytime Mechagodzilla is on the screen. So, anytime Mechagodzilla is on the screen, all you hear is Ghidorah. You just hear.
So was Ghidorah in King of the Monsters?
Yes.
Okay.
He was the main baddie.
Yeah, it really seems like that's the one I should have definitely watched before watching this one. I'd have loved to try to get through that, but I ran out of time.
Let's take a break here. Go ahead and say we'll be right back, and we'll be right back in 3 minutes.
All right, we'll take a quick 3 minutes. Do we still got a lot more to talk about with this, or what are you thinking?
We got about another 30 minutes.
Okay. All right. Well, we will be right back. would appear as if we are back, everybody.
We are back. Sorry, I had to use the restroom.
I understand.
So we open up with Hong Kong. Godzilla blasts a hole through the earth.
And I will say with this movie, like, pretty much since, like, as far as, like, enjoyment, like, as watching the movie, from the moment of the first fight with Godzilla and King Kong, the movie's very fun to watch from then on out. Like the beginning part of it, and that's really the part that I really started actually watching too. So whatever happens before then, which has only got to be like 15 minutes worth of movie, from then on it's filtered in with these little bits of fucking human element and bullshit. But like going to the center of the earth, whether it's believable or not, it's still very fun to watch. And then the first fight's fun. That whole interaction's fun, and it's just so much is always going on at one time, and I don't know why. Like, to me, I thought this was gonna be a 3-hour movie. This is
This
big
is the
movie.
shortest one in the. This is the shortest one in the MonsterVerse. And that's why I was thinking like they could have added more scenes here because it's like a breakneck pace
Yeah.
in this movie. So I was
The way I see it is, by adding more scenes, it would have been adding more human element into it, because even though this movie is shorter, it probably has more monster screen time than any of the other ones. So for them to make it longer, it would have been probably difficult to make it longer with more monster screen time. So they cut out like the parts that I'm complaining about, they probably cut a lot more of those out, which is fair.
So we get round 2. Kong digs his way out of the hollow earth after Godzilla blasts a hole through his throne at the center of the earth because of the power source.
That's something else I like to think about. Like, Kong's family has been dead for however long, and like this place is laid dormant forever, and the fucking day Kong shows up, it fucking gets fucking torn to shreds. Like, this place has been. It's like say fucking the Roman Colosseum. Like, nobody lived in that parts of the world for thousands of years. Suddenly we go back, and that very day we fucking just run a goddamn like wrecking ball through it.
So there's a Kong digs his way out of the hollow earth and fights Godzilla. There's a scene here where Kong takes his axe and shoves it in Godzilla's mouth, and it was the tree scene from the original movie.
Okay, I'd have to go back and watch the original movie to pick that up, but I thought that was fucking cool, and I thought that should have fucking killed Godzilla. Like, that was a fucking it was blunt at the end. It was sharp at the head of it. The base of it was blunt. So yeah.
Yeah, he was just dragging it in his mouth, and it was like, oh my god, that's the tree scene. That's the tree scene from the original. And then
Let's see.
So Kong, we get to the point where Kong is running from Godzilla's atomic breath. Kong gets struck in the back, and Godzilla just smiles. And that was another reference to the original, because when Godzilla strikes him...
Oh, yeah.
We talked about this before. When Godzilla strikes him, he's like, yeah, jumping up and down. So that was a fun, like, they gave, like we talked about this earlier, but they gave these monsters so much more personality in this movie than they have in other movies. But anyway, Kong gets his axe back, and after he digs it into Godzilla's thigh, Godzilla takes it out, throws it away, and then proceeds to chase King Kong with his atomic breath.
Real quick, if you don't mind, because you're talking about the Easter egg, let me go ahead and I got the video pulled up. I'm going to show everybody the scene you're referring to. You won't be able to watch it, Matt, but everybody watching at home will. So. What's that?
What scene? Oh, the lightning hands. Oh man, I got.
Yeah.
There's another. Oh, here's the tree scene. Boom. That was the axe. That was the axe in that movie.
Yeah, so that's what you're referring to.
Yeah,
Which yeah, it's pretty funny. It's much funnier in the old one, but yeah.
but yeah, that was a reference to that. Then we get the axe, the trailer shot where King Kong has the axe up, Godzilla is throwing his atomic breath at the axe, and it all culminates into a big explosion that forces Godzilla back, and Kong's like, "Oh yeah, I
I
kicked
hated
his
that,
ass."
man. Because no,
Like,
God, Kong fell on his ass too. He kind of got up for a second, but it really pissed me off because I'm like that was the biggest thing in the trailers that you saw, and like I was expecting that to be a fucking solid blow to, especially after Kong had gotten his ass whooped the whole fucking movie. I was hoping that was going to be a good blow. Godzilla would fall to the ground, Kong would be standing up, beat his chest, and scream a little bit, but no, he fell down
yeah,
too, and then continued to get his ass whooped afterwards.
like they're like, all the humans are like, "Yeah, Kong won. He won that round." And everything, and like Godzilla just gets up, busts
Was
out
he
some dust.
blind?
Who?
Was he
The
blinded after
human?
that point? No, Godzilla, because there was a scene where Kong has like he's like on the, I think he's holding on to a building and he grabs like a crane and he throws it, but he misses Godzilla. And I thought at first it was like he's going to use this as his axe. He throws it, it misses Godzilla, and Godzilla turns to where he threw it to, and then he uses that as his moment of opportunity to jump on Godzilla.
I think it was just a distraction technique.
Yeah,
Like, I don't think Godzilla was blind. I think
but
Godzilla couldn't
Godzilla
see
was
him.
looking at him when he threw it, and then he turns to look. Like it seemed dumb. The only thing that would
I
have made
think
that make
Godzilla
sense is that
straight ahead.
Godzilla.
He wasn't looking above him. He was just looking straight ahead.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
I don't buy it, but I don't think Godzilla was blind. But yeah, that seemed a little cheap. I think Godzilla would have seen him up there, but it's a movie. What can you do?
Yeah,
Except complain about it. So,
and I
but
will.
yeah,
God damn it.
so Godzilla gets up, Kong tricks him, and then jumps on Godzilla. Kong jumps on Godzilla's back from the back of a building, tries to strangle him, but Godzilla just tears that ass up from
Oh,
then
dude,
on out.
you talk like he's like fucking slicing him open and shit.
Yeah.
Fucking when Godzilla got on top of him and put his foot on his chest, and like you can hear like the bones crunching or whatever, and Godzilla just screams in his face, and then Kong screams back. That was my favorite scene in the movie. Like that was, I thought that was really cool. And the what's really neat is, and it could just be me, but when Kong screamed back, it reminded me of like a scared dog that's in a corner, like fighting, like scared. Like he's not trying to be ferocious. He's scared and trying to be ferocious, which is a big difference. And like that,
It was
it was
very
really good.
animalistic, that last scene.
Yeah,
Because like Godzilla was like, "I will kill you," and then Kong's like, "Okay, man, yeah, whatever."
it seemed like a submissive roar. Like he was trying to roar and be a strong, independent gorilla who don't need no Godzilla, but at the same time, there was a submissiveness into it. Like fuck, yeah, dude, get off my chest, I can't breathe.
See, I was so worried you're gonna devil advocates me, right here.
Oh,
You're,
we're playing devil's advocate. Oh.
but it was like the director was spot on when he said there will be a definitive winner, and that definitive
Oh
winner
yeah, hands down.
was Godzilla, dude. He
There
tore
was
that
yeah,
ass.
yeah.
There was
Anybody
there
that
was
sees that and thinks Kong fucking won at any point is retarded.
the
I mean,
the
is special needs. Is that better? I don't know the proper vernacular.
but it was just there was no way. There was no
Yeah.
way. Like Godzilla beat his ass the entire movie. I don't even.
Kong did one good thing. He had that one blow with the axe, and like, yeah, I felt like when I saw it, it hurt him just as much as it hurt Godzilla.
Mm, it's just, gee, like the original Kong was on, not. It was the underdog still, but he beat Godzilla in the end. But this movie, there was no doubt. There
Yeah,
was no doubt who won. Um,
it just seemed like everything Kong was throwing at Godzilla just wasn't working. He was constantly getting bested. And what I find neat is like I think if you look at it on pen and paper, Godzilla versus King Kong, it just seems like Kong will have the advantage because he's like a human. He can grab and move, manipulate him a lot easier. And they did a good job of showing that that's not the case. Like Godzilla's he's a motherfucker, and he will fuck you up.
nature.
Yeah.
So Kong is about to die. We get to the scene where okay, so let's get to the scene where they upload the new power for Mechagodzilla. Mechagodzilla goes out of control. All you hear is Ghidorah roars throughout the scene. All you hear is um his eyes start flashing. Sarazawa's son, which in King of the Monsters, there was a guy called Sarazawa too. He's the pilot's dad. He went down to save Godzilla by detonating a nuke and reviving Godzilla, and he died. So that the pilot of Mechagodzilla is Sarazawa's son, Ren Sarazawa, and he's pissed at Godzilla. They didn't really show this in the movie, but he's pissed at Godzilla because his dad died trying to revive him, and so that's why he's piloting Mechagodzilla.
Oh, okay, that's neat.
Yeah, they didn't show that in this movie, which I wish they did. But so Sarah's always like, "Hey, can we not do this? Let's test this out first before we do this." And the evil Apex guy's like, "Do it. Get in the fucking chair."
Yeah, that was so silly because everything he said made so much sense. He's like, we waited so long. Like, why can't we just figure this shit out first? And he's like, I'm an evil mastermind that spent his entire life building up this company to be able to do this one thing, and now I'm finally here. Let's do it. It just is so dumb.
Yeah. So they get in
And
the
of
chair,
course, he's giving a speech. He's like yelling and stuff like this, and then everybody's watching as Mechagodzilla comes to life and starts looking at him, and he like turns around. And he's like, "Oh no," or whatever it is he said. Another shitty one-liner. Just perfect cliche villain shit going on.
Well, that's why I like Bernie so much because Bernie's like, man, I really like to hear the end of that speech.
I did. That was my favorite Bernie moment, 100%.
We'll talk about favorite lines here in a minute, but
my favorite line was "Rawr!"
I'll talk about my favorite line here in a minute. But so they upload the new power source. Sarazawa gets electrocuted because Ghidorah takes over, or the spirit of Ghidorah takes over, and now Ghidorah or Ghidorah is now Mechagodzilla. So Mechagodzilla busts out of the mountain after he kills the Apex guy, which is awfully close to his third brain, the computer that we'll talk about later.
Mm-hmm.
And goes out and just beats Godzilla's ass. He is kicking that lizard's ass. Like, he comes out of the mountain. Godzilla's like, oh, here we go. We got another fucking thing to fight. Kick this. I'll just submit this guy and then go back to my island. That's not what happens. Mechagodzilla first charges at Godzilla with rockets launched out of his back.
Oh yeah. I will say Mechagodzilla was fucking bad as fuck, man. Like that was some cool shit. Like that was basically 3 fights. Godzilla or King Kong getting his ass whooped, King Kong getting his ass whooped, and then King Kong and Godzilla getting their ass whooped.
It was insane. Like, I didn't think the Ready Player One Mechagodzilla looked a little bit better in comparison and in design. But
I have to pull it up. You keep talking. I'm gonna pull it up.
But this Mecha's Godzilla looked fine too. He had like 3 finger grapples and like just kept grabbing Godzilla by his face or neck and just toss him around. So Madison and her Scooby gang are trying to, put in a password to try to shut down Mechagodzilla. And I was when they first said that if I get the password, I can shut them down. I was so worried
that it was just going to be like, ugh, because that's all you need to get into a fucking encrypted software thing is just slapping on some keys, man.
Oh, you got the Mechagodzilla thing up.
Yeah, I got playing in the background. It's a long scene. It's actually 4 minutes. Let's cut forward there. I was just gonna have this playing in the background while you were talking.
Okay, but is that Chucky? I never watched Player One.
Ready Player One. The book's a lot better than the movie.
Okay, I've only seen their Mechagodzilla design, which I really liked. But
I feel like I like the I like the design of this one. as far
Yeah.
as like visually, but I think the one in the movie made more sense.
Yeah, that one works just fine, but like that one just looks pretty good.
It looks cooler.
Yeah, but anyway, but the Mechagodzilla in this movie it's fine. It works. Um, so they're trying to they're trying to do the password so they can shut it down, and they do it enough times to where the computer locks, and I was like, great, amazing. They made fun of that trope in movies, and they logged down the computer.
Yeah,
Like, great. I was so happy.
yeah,
So Godzilla is getting his ass kicked by Mechagodzilla. Godzilla's tired. He just whooped Kong's ass like 4 times in the past 30 minutes. He's a little tired.
yeah.
And the machine and Mechagodzilla
He's been
was
whooping
built,
ass for the past 2 days.
and the machine was built to be an anti-Godzilla weapon anyway. So the humans
If
revive
it can whoop
Kong.
Godzilla's ass, it definitely can whoop Kong's ass.
I mean, you would think, but Godzilla was tired. So they revive Kong with the Hollow Earth ship. It's like enough lights to light up Las Vegas and anything. And this is another Easter egg from the original.
That was something that I didn't get, so I need you to explain it to me. I'm waiting on you to get there. Like, what is the whole? How did they fucking bring him back to life? I must have turned my head or something.
They used the ship and made it explode with electrical energy.
Okay.
And that was an Easter egg from the original, which was when lightning hit Kong, he all of a sudden was rejuvenated and strong and had lightning powers. They didn't give him lightning powers, but they rejuvenated him with lightning, which is from the original.
That would have been cool if he had lightning powers. It would
Yeah.
fucking seemed like he was fucking
Lightning fist.
strong
Bam!
at one point.
So Kong revives, and Jai has to tell him, like, look, Godzilla's not the enemy. He was just mad because humans were trying to replace him. I was like, oh, okay. And Kong's like, fuck you, kid. And he's like, it's true. And he's like, okay, yeah. So he attacks Mechagodzilla right before Mechagodzilla gives Godzilla the kiss of death, which is spread the mouth, blow a heat beam right
Yeah,
down
yeah,
the-
yeah.
So that's what happens. And Godzilla and Kong work together, and they basically beat Mechagodzilla. But Godzilla got the fucking shit end of that stick during that team brawl.
Yeah.
Because even though Kong, was meant to beat Mechagodzilla, he still was like sending missiles to Godzilla. Even though Kong was the more immediate threat, Mechagodzilla was just like, fuck Godzilla, dude. He pushed Kong away and then just started beating Godzilla's ass again. And then finally Kong got him distracted enough to Mechagodzilla to have his main focus on Kong. Kong got his axe, and then Godzilla powered it up with his atomic breath, and then Kong just started hacking away. Near the end there, after Mechagodzilla is dead, we get a respect scene between the two. Godzilla roars, Kong picks up his axe, looks at Godzilla, drops his axe, and says, you know what, me and you were buds.
Yeah.
And then Godzilla's like, yeah, okay, we're buds. And then Godzilla goes away, Kong goes back to Hollow Earth. So we have 2 Alpha Titans. We have Godzilla, the Alpha Titan of Earth, and then we got Kong, the Alpha Titan of Hollow Earth.
What Matt means
And-
to say is we have one Alpha Titan, Godzilla.
Yeah, Godzilla fucking, he's king of the monsters.
Not even a fucking contest, man. Not even a fucking contest. So that leads me to my final thing is like, after seeing this movie, like when I saw the Hollow Earth stuff and everything that they were doing, like what do they do next? Like a robot from outer space?
Well, they might. They might. They might do Space Godzilla or
But what can they
Biontech.
do that'll be next? That'll be a bigger spectacle than this. Like literally, they would have to take. They've already fought in Hollow Earth. They fought, on Earth. They had a giant robot fighting. The only thing I can think of next that would be they fought in the ocean. The only thing next that would be like cool is them fighting in space.
Um, this is probably the last movie in this universe. Um, see now here's some deep details that not a lot of people know. Warner Brothers put this movie because it was a Warner Brothers and Legendary shared um property. Warner Brothers put this on HBO without telling Legendary.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, so Legendary had no idea. They thought they were just gonna be in theaters, strictly theaters. Warner Brothers said, "Nah, we'll put it on HBO." So they almost had a lawsuit between Legendary and Warner Brothers. That's why it was delayed. And I don't think those two companies are gonna work together again. They settled, but I don't think they're gonna work together again
That's
after this.
hilarious.
So Godzilla will probably go back to Toho, and then another American company can buy the rights to make movies, and we'll have a brand new universe.
Okay.
It just depends if Legendary and Warner Brothers can work together again. But after the HBO Max uh, whole fiasco, I don't see them working together again.
Yeah. Well, at least we got this movie out of it, which this leads me to my final thing. I don't think we've done this before because we never really did like a movie review. This is like not even it's kind of a movie review and first reactions at the same time. But let's talk scales. Like, do you want to do a 1 to 10 or do you want to do a 1 to 5?
Well, first, before we do that, let's talk about our favorite line in the movie.
Oh, go
What
ahead.
was
Go
your
ahead.
What was your favorite line again?
If I'm gonna have to go off of a line from a person, I'm gonna say that my favorite line was that one with Bernie where he said, "I really want to hear the rest of that speech."
Oh, my favorite line was from Mark Russell. Mark Russell was the director of Monarch, and my favorite line from him comes from the end of the movie where he says, "Shut up, Josh," because I fucking hated that character.
I gotcha. Okay. Well, fun. So,
But
do you want to do a 1 to 10 scale or 1 to 5?
okay,
I'm
like I
fine with
can
a
do
1 to 5, but I think a 1 to 10 can give better accuracy and
yeah.
detail. But
Let's do 1 to 10.
I
Let's
was
do
gonna
one to
say,
ten.
I don't know if we're good enough to be given 1 to 10 scales.
We're modern. We're regular movie viewers. We're just the audience score.
That's why I think a 5 would be better. But you want to do 1 to 10? Let's do 1 to 10. What is your number?
I'm gonna say 8.
Jesus Christ, man! You've watched
I'm gonna
other
say 8.
movies before, haven't you? Fuck.
Hmm. No,
I'm a,
this isn't overall. This is
no.
kaiju movies.
Oh, you're just giving it. No, we got to give it an overall score.
An overall score?
Yeah, we can do the kaiju. We'll do it based off of kaiju's that we've seen, and we can do it based off of overall.
Okay.
So
From 8 kaiju score, regular movie, about a 5 or a 6.
yeah, okay, we're on the same page. And I would say 8 for kaiju movies that I've seen, which I haven't seen a lot, but I think this was a lot of my scores coming from like I can't imagine other ones would be better. But this still wasn't good enough for me to feel like there can't be better ones. And then I would say 5.5, 6, somewhere between 5 and 6 for sure. As
Yeah.
overall movie, where a 5 for me would be, I didn't hate the experience, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it or watch it again. And a 6 would be like I didn't necessarily enjoy the experience, but I think it was good enough to say, hey, maybe you would like this. Check it out. It was fun enough. So,
Yeah.
and maybe I'd
Yeah.
watch it again. So, like 5.5.
I'm a big fan of kaiju movies to begin with. So, but this movie after
That's why
watching
I'm
it 3 times,
surprised our scores are so similar.
like because I like Ironclad is a 7 to me, and Ironclad's a fucking great movie. So,
Oh, I
but it
gotcha.
on the scale of normal movies, but like kaiju movies is up there. Um, but most of the kaiju movies I watch are like 5s and 6 if
Real
I'm
quick,
giving them
we got
overall.
we got a score from somebody. It's from Evie saying 7. Is that a 7 overall or a 7 for kaiju movies?
Yeah, there's a difference because kaiju movies by themselves are pretty low tier. You're watching a spectacle. You're not
Yeah.
watching.
Oh, it's
You're not
like
watching
this
story.
is, I think, a good thing to compare this to is compare it to like the Transformer movies. I think for like the average viewer, that's what this sort of thing is compared to. And I haven't seen a lot of the Transformer movies. I remember the first one I watched, I was very hell yeah. And I think honestly, you could maybe even compare it to like the superhero movies, like the Marvel movies, as far as the spectacle of it all. And
Mhm.
so, like I said, like I would say 7 or 8 in that category were like something like Avengers. I would consider Endgame and what is the one right before Endgame?
Infinity War.
Infinity War and Endgame. I think would be like a very high 9, like 9.5 or more.
Oh, she said overall. So overall, it's a good movie.
Oh, so
Um,
she must have liked it a lot more than me and you did.
yeah. Um,
But
but she
I
only
think it's
watched.
fair.
She only watched it once. This is coming from a score of watching it 3 times.
I mean,
Um,
I've only seen it half a time, so
see, my overall favorite kaiju movie is Godzilla vs Megalon, because just because it was the first Godzilla movie or kaiju movie I've ever seen.
what got you into kaiju movies? Did your dad get you into that? I know your dad's into some weird nerdy shit.
My dad's into like Doctor Who and shit. I'm not. I don't like Doctor Who, but no, I was. It was dinosaurs. I was
Ah,
watching Jurassic Park movies,
it
and
would
then I
suck if you had
saw
it would suck if you had a kid and they were into dinosaurs and then they followed your path.
dude, my
Just
kid.
kidding.
My kid loves dinosaurs.
Charizard's gonna
Uh,
be mad when she gets older and she wasn't named Charizard.
like she was fighting. I bought her a. There were flaws, but I found it entertaining. Yeah,
I
yeah.
agree. I agree.
It's a spectacle movie.
That's
Um,
why it's hard for me to get it over 5 because I think it was 6. Yeah, you're right. I'll give it a 6. There was flaws, but it's entertaining. I agree with you 100%. 100%. I think
um,
that's the best review that we spent a fucking over an hour saying what Emily just summed up in one line.
mhm. But Charizard was playing with her T Rex toy and her Stegosaurus toy.
You called her Charizard.
She was fighting him yesterday. Before bed, she's like rah rah rah, and banging them together.
That's so cute.
Emily was like, "What are you gonna do if she becomes a paleontologist and goes to Utah and we never see her?" I was like, "I'd be proud of her. She's going to find a new dinosaur."
The
but
Evosaurus Rex. Then all of a sudden, then she would be like, "I'm glad you named me my name so I can make a new dinosaur." If you name me Charizard, like people are like you just copying Pokemon. All right,
my
so
name is no, there was but what got me into kaiju movies was Jurassic Park. And I was watching the Jurassic Park movies, and then I saw the
I forgot
advertisement,
you were real big into Jurassic Park.
and then I saw the advertisement for Godzilla '98, which is the first American Godzilla movie they try to make with
Is that the one that I've seen? The one with Matthew Broderick?
yeah,
Yeah.
that was I saw ads for that movie, and I was like, Godzilla, what's that about? Because all I saw was a big foot coming down,
Yeah.
crushing the Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton. So I was like, oh, I gotta find out what this is about. And then,
And you were just a fish ever since because you were
yep,
hooked.
yep, because we went to a family video and I rented a bunch of Godzilla movies because like, oh, let's see what Godzilla's about. It looks fun. And then my first movie I ever watched was Godzilla vs Megalon, and ever since then I've just been a big Godzilla fan.
It's cool, man. It's cool. I wish I had something that I was like, overly passionate about like that. I think I end up being too critical about stuff. But we're at the end of the stream here, guys. I think, and
It's fine.
we're notorious for continuing these streams past their need to be streamed. And that's because we just really enjoy doing this. So with that being said, Matt, I have 3 options for you moving forward, or I guess 4. One, you could leave and go and do whatever you got to do for the rest of the day. 2, we could play some Doom that we've been talking about for a while. 3, we could just play some Valorant. Or 4, we could play a game of Take Your Shot. Would you want to do any of those 4? You got to pick one. Leave, Doom, Valorant, or Take Your Shot.
Can you do any of these later?
Oh, I can do the first one right now. The
Yeah,
the
the
first
first
one
one
was
leave.
for you to leave.
Yeah, the first one leave. But can you do the take your shot later
Yeah,
tonight?
yeah, yeah. I can do a take a shot later. Possibly.
All
It
right.
depends. Maybe, maybe not.
What time?
What you tell me what time. If it's before 9, it depends.
Yeah, I told my wife I'd be off by this time, so
I
I'm
gotcha.
gonna go ahead and leave. Maybe me and you can message each other later, and then find out what time would be good to do a take a shot. 8 to 8:30 would be great to do a take a shot, or any of the other options you gave. So
8 to 8:30. I should be free around 8 to 8:30. So guys, if you've been watching the stream this long, come back in around 8. We'll be playing a game of Take Your Shot. Me, Matt. Maybe we'll have a guest. Who knows? Also, another thing I wanted to point out, and I'll point it out at the beginning of the next stream. Meant to point out at the beginning of this one, but I lost my train of thought. If you guys remember back that far, what I wanted to try to do, and this show keeps going through a lot of different transitions of what I'm wanting to do with it, and I keep changing my mind, and I can't settle on anything. But I got a baby coming, and so focusing on this show is going to be a harder thing. And I was trying to get it to a point where I can keep it on a steady pace and do things week to week. But it's hard for me to focus on something at the same time. It's hard for me to it's hard for me to focus on, like, I want to do it this way. Like I always change my mind. So I think what I would like for this show to be moving forward until we can figure out something else is just be exactly what you saw today. Saturdays at some time, me and Matt come on here for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and we talk or play games. And so I think that might be what this show is for a little while, is a Saturday stream that me and Matt do. How do you feel about that, Matt? I've been to talk to you
yeah,
about it.
yeah. Next week I'm gonna be in Louisiana, so I won't be able to do anything next week probably.
Yeah.
But the week after that,
Well, one of the cool things about that is still we could do individual streams. Like you could log into an account and do it. So it'll vary. Like, if it's game related, it's going to be on Twitch. If it's just talking like we're doing right here, it's going to be on YouTube. So hopefully, and my schedule may vary, but I think between me and Matt, I think we can guarantee a stream every Saturday. We'll pick a time so we can kind of keep it regularly, but one stream every Saturday for until we settle on something else. I think that's good, and that's what the show will be moving forward. Maybe there'll be some other videos we produce and pop out every now and then. Maybe a podcast of a new story or something. But I think that should be good. Just because we want to do this, but we don't want it to be harder than it has to be.
yeah. So we'll be back later tonight with take a shot. I'll see if I can round up a guest real quick, and then if not, if you don't come check us out, we'll see you next time. So I hope everyone has a good day, and I hope you enjoyed Godzilla vs Kong. I know our movie review was kind of scattered, but I mean the movie itself was kind of scattered. So I hope you enjoy. Tom, anything to say?
No, I just had a good time. I think I've said everything that I need to say, and yeah, thank you guys for coming checking us out. I appreciate all the comments that we've had. I appreciate all the viewers we had, and a lot of them are family and friends, and that's just fucking good enough, man. I'm happy that anybody is interested in listening to us jibber jabber about stuff that we are passionate about or care about in any aspect. So thank you guys for coming and watching The Rough Craft. We're the show that create new story ideas while enjoying nice tasty beers. Sometimes we talk about other people's stories, but we like to make rough drafts while drinking good crafts. Thank you guys. Hope you have a good night, and we'll talk to you again at a later date and time. Thank you.
See ya. All right, boy. Hang up with the kid and the wife for a little bit, and then I'll be back there tonight. I'll see if you want to see if Logan wants to come on.
Sounds good to me, man. I got our intro outro music playing.
Oh, okay. I'll talk to you outside.
All right, man. See ya.